There's an entire economy happening around you that nobody points out, not because it's hidden, but because everyone benefits from you not noticing it. You've probably felt it, that weird gap between what financial advice says should work and what actually happens when you try it. Save more, invest early, build good credit. All true. All useless if you don't understand what's happening in the space between the advice and the outcome. That's the ghost economy. It's not a conspiracy. It's just incentives playing out exactly as designed, and you're on the wrong side of the information gap. Most people spend their whole lives reacting to it without ever seeing the structure. And the structure is shockingly simple once you know where to look. It's not about working harder or being smarter. It's about recognizing that the financial system doesn't reward what you think it rewards. It rewards whoever understands the lag, the delay between when you make a decision and when you feel the cost. That lag is where the entire ghost economy lives. Here's what I mean. You get a credit card. You're told it builds credit. That's true. But what they don't explain is that credit isn't a measure of responsibility. It's a measure of profitability. The system doesn't care if you're good with money. It cares if you're profitable to lend to. Someone who pays off their balance every month is called a deadbeat in the industry. Actually called that, because they don't generate interest. The profitable customer is someone who carries a balance but doesn't default. That's the sweet spot. So when you're told to build credit, you're not being taught financial health. You're being taught how to become an ideal borrower. The advice works, but the outcome isn't what you think. This is the ghost economy. The real transaction isn't the one you see. It's the one designed into the system. And it shows up everywhere. Insurance that costs more when you need it most. Savings accounts that lose value to inflation, while the bank loans your deposit at higher rates. Retirement accounts that lock your money away for decades, while fund managers take fees whether you profit or not. None of this is illegal. It's just structured so the information asymmetry is always in favor of the institution. The villain here isn't a person, it's the time lag, the distance between action and consequence. Because humans are terrible at valuing future costs. We'll avoid a certain loss today, even if it creates a bigger loss later. The financial system is built on that bias. Credit card debt doesn't feel expensive when you swipe. It feels expensive 6 months later when the balance has compounded. Subscription services don't feel wasteful when you sign up. They feel wasteful when you realize you've been paying for something you haven't used in 8 months. The ghost economy profits from that delay. It's why free trials require credit cards. It's why penalties are always backloaded. It's why tax refunds feel like gifts, even though it's your own money returned without interest. The structure is designed to make the pain invisible until it's too late to adjust. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Every financial product starts to look like an engineered time lag. The question becomes, who's paying for the lag and who's profiting from it? So what actually works? Not magic, just removing the lag where you can. The boring truth is that the ghost economy loses power the moment you shorten the feedback loop. Pay off the credit card before the statement closes. You still build credit, but you don't pay interest. The system counts it the same, but the cost to you is zero. Set subscriptions to alert you 3 days before renewal. Friction kills ghost costs. Even just seeing the charge coming makes you question if you still want it. Automate savings the day you get paid, not at the end of the month. If the money never enters your spending account, there's no lag between intention and action. This isn't about discipline. It's about designing out the delay. The ghost economy depends on you forgetting, getting busy, or not noticing until later. You don't need to be smarter. You just need to make the cost visible sooner. That's the entire game. Shorten the loop, and the structure stops working against you. Let's apply this. If you're broke, the ghost economy hits hardest because you have no buffer. Overdraft fees are a perfect example. You go negative by $3, get charged $35. That's not a fee. That's a penalty for being poor structured as a service. The time lag here is immediate, but the trap is that you're already behind, so the fee compounds. What works? Opt out of overdraft protection entirely. Let the card decline. The embarrassment is free. The fee is not. If you're middle class, the ghost economy shows up as lifestyle lag. You're not broke, so you finance comfort. Car payments, mortgages, refis. All of it extends the time between decision and payoff. You feel like you're building wealth because your credit score is good and your assets are appreciating. But if you actually calculated cost of interest over the life of the loan, you'd realize you're paying twice the sticker price. What works? Pay extra toward principal, even if it's small. Every dollar that skips the lag saves you $3 on the back end. If you're rich, the ghost economy is tax lag. Wealth isn't taxed when it grows. It's taxed when it's realized. So the entire strategy is deferring realization as long as possible. Buy, borrow, die. You don't sell assets. You borrow against them. The loan isn't taxed. The asset still grows. You die. The basis resets. Your heirs sell without capital gains. The time lag becomes generational. I'm not saying you can do that right now. I'm saying the system is designed with that lag in mind, and if you're not aware of it, you're paying for someone else's advantage. Here's the part most people miss. The ghost economy isn't just financial, it's informational. The reason this isn't taught in school is because the institutions that benefit from the lag also fund the curriculum, influence policy, and advertise the advice. You're not supposed to notice that financial literacy programs are often sponsored by credit card companies, or that retirement advice assumes you'll stay invested for 30 years in a system that takes fees every quarter, regardless of performance. The lag protects itself. By the time you realize the advice didn't work, you're too deep in to start over, and the system calls that your fault. You didn't save enough. You didn't start early enough. You made bad choices. Maybe. Or maybe the choices were designed to look good in the short term and cost you in the long term. That's not failure. That's strategy. And the strategy isn't yours. So the real takeaway isn't a hack. It's a lens. Every time you're sold something financial, ask, where's the lag? When do I feel the cost? Who profits from the delay? If the answer isn't clear, don't sign. If the cost is backloaded, assume it's worse than it looks. If the benefit requires you to forget or ignore something for years, that's not alignment. That's extraction. You're not paranoid for asking. You're just finally paying attention to the structure instead of the story. And that's the only edge you actually need.